All right, welcome back. This is my office in Willow Glen, and we're just kind of doing some meetings, and I thought I'd take a quick break and come and talk to you for a little bit about what's going on with the market. It's weird because the market is actually coming back a little bit. Is it back completely? Probably not, but there's definitely a wave of new buyers coming in. Just did a couple open houses over the last couple of weekends, and it's been crazy, hectic, busy. I had 17 people come through one of my open houses on a Sunday, which is typically slower than a Saturday. So it's just been crazy, and everything I'm seeing is actually going into contract. I'm fighting to get contracts accepted. So what does that mean? I think what it is when we went up to 7.5%, and now it's down to 6.5%. Well, that's okay. And really, here's the thing. Here in California, especially in the Silicon Valley, you're going to find loans that are really about 5.5, depending. And yes, you're going to have to pay a point or so, whatever, but there's other things that we can do to make sure that it's comfortable for you. So renters, if you're looking at buying, thinking about getting into the market, you may have already missed the spot. I think it's going to slow down again because the feds are going to testify again, and they're going to increase the rates again, which means your rates are going to increase, the home rates are going to increase, home mortgage rates. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I think it's a good thing if you're a first-time buyer, if you're a renter, if you have been struggling to get into the market, especially here in Santa Clara County, Silicon Valley, San Jose, Los Gatos, Willow Glen, Morgan Hill, Gilroy, Almaden Valley, all these different places that I see all the time. I'm seeing houses getting snapped up still. Are they still seeing 17 offers? No, they're getting 1, 2, or 3 offers. We have offers that are sitting on homes that sellers just won't go down on price. They're not being realistic on the market. That's fine, but it's absolutely happening. Let me show you something really quick. What I've been seeing here. All right. First of all, let's read this thing right here. 62. Let me make this big so you can see it. This is part of my live. I do lives every Wednesday around noon. Might switch that up coming to the next year, but right now this is my list of things. But I wanted to take the quick time to show you what these numbers are. 62% right now in Santa Clara County are non-contingent. Those offers that are coming through, that's all of the houses, PUDs, condos, townhouses, etc., are coming in non-contingent. It's not like that in the rest of the U.S. right now. I can tell you that right now. Prices are leveling off, and they are kind of softening, but they're also not seeing $500,000 over list price anymore, unless the listing agent prices it $500,000 below where the market is. Okay, you still will see that kind of stuff. That's the thing. Here's where you might have an issue, and you have to have your credit right, you have to have your savings right, you have to have your down payment right, you have to have your reserves right, you have to have everything right. Do you still qualify? If it is 7%, which I don't think it's 7%, it's really 5.5%. If you buy down the points, etc., we have options of making that happen for you. Can you still qualify at 5.5 versus 2.5 at the price that you're buying now? If you can, or if you're questioning it and your lender may not be able to help you, let me know. I have a lot of lenders that can help you understand where we are. They take the time to strategically work with you and understand where you are, what you need to do to get into the price. But right now, when there's less buyers, let me show you this real quick. I don't know where I do with it. Well, I had a thumbnail saying 17 buyers for every house. That's what it was like up until April. You had it didn't matter what the house was. It could have been, a house falling over. Still, you would have had 17 offers on the house. It didn't matter who the agent was. It didn't matter. Nowadays, there's 1 or 2 or 3. And here's the thing. If there's 2 or 3 or 4 offers on the table, the seller has leverage. If you have one offer on the table and it's not obnoxiously low, the seller is more than likely going to take it. We have strategies right now that once you get in a contract, we work with you and the seller to make sure we get you the right terms and price for you. But we need to get you in a contract. So here's some of the reasons why the market won't crash, right? We saw artificially low interest rates. Cost of money was artificially low. That increased the price, which meant that the pricing, the actual cost of housing went up because people could afford more, right? But here's the other thing. We're not building enough houses, and that's what this thing is talking about right here, and we're going to go into that. Retirees aren't downsizing anymore because it costs them less money to stay in that house and just die there or eventually get moved into a retirement house. But they're not downsizing because the cost of doing that is so expensive. REOs aren't at 2008 numbers. We're not seeing those numbers go incredibly high. Right now, we're seeing like 20 or 30 houses in the entire Bay Area as far as bank-owned properties are concerned, right? We're just not seeing thousands of homes going back to the bank. That was 2008. That's not going to happen. Airbnb will convert to long-term rentals. That's Airbnb, VRBO. There's a big, huge thing where there's 1,000 gurus out there telling you that you can make income or you can make a living doing Airbnb. I think that's going to go away. The people that bought in, they already have it at 2.5%. They already have some equity built into that house. Why would they sell it? They're going to convert it into a long-term rental. So this slowing down, reducing the supply, right? If a homeowner becomes unemployed, they'll rent out the house. That's a short-term fix, but at the same time, they're renting it out. They're not selling it, so less supply. Transaction volume. There's some speculation that we're going to see, this is across the United States, that the transaction volume will go down to 3 million. Right now, we know it's going to be about 5.2 this year. That means there's less houses for sale. Also, less buyers buying. We already had the volume stop. The volume spigot turned off around April as far as sales going into the mass firestorm that we were seeing. We're not seeing that anymore. So there you go. We're going to see that cut down. I don't know if it'll go down to $3 million, but what do I know? Investors are sitting and waiting to pick up good deals. Right now, I know investors that are buying houses right now. They're not waiting. They're not waiting, and here's the reason why, right? And I keep showing you this chart. We're right here right now, right? Where there's less competition. Less competition. The minute the market starts crashing or the minute this market starts going back up, you're going to have more competition. Just like I said, this weekend we had open houses and we had a lot of people coming through. Houses are selling. It doesn't matter what neighborhood you're in. You can be in Los Gatos, you can be in Cupertino, you can be in Willow Glen, you can be in Blossom Valley or Santa Teresa. Houses are selling. It's not a desolate, dead market. Even at 7%, houses are still selling. So my advice to you is consider getting into that market. Will the market soften if there's a recession? Probably it'll make it a lot more difficult if you're unemployed to buy a house, right? So theoretically, you can say, well, the market is going to go up to 7, 8, 10%. And that'll soften the market. Yes, but that's not going to slow down the market. The market's still consuming. It might go down to a smaller dwindle, but that's only temporary. It's only the next few months until that normalizes and it comes back down and people start buying again. The stock market crashes. Now, even if the stock market crashes, people aren't going to be focusing on buying houses. They're going to be focused on selling, buying stock, right? So it'll be a great time, but I don't think the market's going to crash if the stock market crashes. I just don't see that happening. I see people saying that I'm going to take my money out and put it into real estate, right? Inflation surges. Well, it's already surging. I don't care what the Fed say. It's surging, right? Everybody's paying $15 for a pound of chicken. You're paying $4 for a cup of soda at Burger King. So we're already playing that inflation surges game. We're already seeing that. And it's slowing down the market, but I don't think that's really what it is. What inflation is going to do is slow down commodity purchases, new iPhones, new computers, cameras, et cetera, and clothes, and that will slow it down. And that means there's going to be less less businesses doing well, but homes will still be bought here. There's still less homes for everybody that's coming in to California, specifically Silicon Valley. All right. This is going to hurt small businesses, right? It's going to hurt franchises like McDonald's and Burger King. You're going to see a lot more of those going away. We're already seeing a lot of them going away. It's going to continue to hurt small businesses, but those small businesses, they're mom and pop shops. They're, I know a lady who owns a gas station. She might slow down. She's not stopping to sell gas, but she might slow down on doing some work on cars, but still that stuff needs to happen, right? Small, medium-sized businesses will continue to fail at an upward surge, right? I don't see that's going to crash the market though, because they'll go get a job if they can get a job, if they're employable, or they'll start another job, or they'll get into real estate. Gas prices remain high. It's continuing to come down. There was some speculation before the election that if certain people got into it, the market was going to surge gas prices. Obviously, that's not happening. We're seeing prices come down pennies every week now, but it's still starting to come down. Will it come down to $3.50 a gallon again? I don't know. Airbnb, VRBO, and iBuyers oversaturate the housing market. We said over here, Airbnb, VRBO will convert to long-term rentals, but there's going to be some people with their heads stuck in the sand. And they're not going to want to play the I'm just going to sell my house at a loss game. And they're not going to convert them to long-term rentals. I don't think it'll be more than 5% of the market. I think it'll be very separate areas, and still there's enough demand, especially here in California. In St. Louis, it might be completely different, right? We have a lot more people coming here trying to buy. And the economy, the global economy crashes, absolutely, that could hurt everybody, right? So if the economy crashes, people will stop buying houses. They're just going to hunker down where they are, or move out and move in with their parents. I saw something the other day. I don't want to tell you what it was. Something like 60% of all homes. I'll get it to you in a minute because I want to do it right. But it's something like 60% of all homes have no loans on it. So anybody around 40, 45 plus have paid off most of their loans. That other half, the other 30% or 33, 6%, or whatever that number is, their loan is 2.5%, 3%, on the average 3%. And of them, they have an average equity of about $300,000. So I don't think the market will crash. I don't think people will be willing to let go of $300,000 that easily. Now, if it evaporates, the market crashes, the economy completely collapses, and we see, World War III and famine and all this other stuff, housing's not going to be an issue. People are going to be worried about food. So yeah, the market might crash, right? But I don't think it's going to happen right now. If you're a renter, this is the reason why you should be buying a house right now. It builds generational wealth. It builds generational wealth. My parents moved here from war-torn, World War II, Europe. They moved to Canada, and then they immigrated down here, and then they bought houses, and now they're wealthier than their parents, my grandmother, my grandparents. I bought houses. My sisters bought houses. My cousins have bought houses. And when my parents and my uncles and whatever pass away, we're going to assume that wealth. in the millions of dollars, right? And that's how that works. If you're a renter and you're a generational renter, you need to break the cycle. You need to start building wealth right now. And if you're not prepared to do that, here's the thing. We actually have a program for you. It's actually coming up here next year. We're getting together to do it. We're working with financial coaches, that's home finance coaches, talking to lenders, talking to financial advisors, yes, the guys that sell stocks and bonds and life insurance. We're talking to healthcare professionals, not just the guys that sell home insurance. We're going to talk to them too, but also talk to the people that represent small and medium-sized businesses that sell health insurance to those companies so that their employees can have it. And the whole reason why is because you might be overpaying for the insurance that you have, but you also go to the doctor and you might be overpaying for whatever it is. You don't know what questions to ask, and that's the whole reason why we're doing that. So we're going to get a program together that helps you understand every little bit of intricacies about financial intelligence. And that's the name of it. It's called Financial Intelligence, and it's there to help you be successful in your life and leave some money behind for your children. Remember, 5.5%, that's going to be the new normal, guys. I'll tell you right now, 4.5% will be the great rates that we have. I don't see that coming down to that a lot. I don't see us going into 2.5% again. That was a phenomenon. That was the wrong thing for them to do for as long as they did, but we did that to keep the economy going, and we did what we had to do, right? I think 5 and 5.5% is going to be the new normal. That is a nominal value for the cost of money. So remember, the prices you're paying right now, or the rates you're paying right now, are being quoted right now, they're temporary. If it goes down to 4.5, you can refinance. But more than likely, what I would tell you is don't refinance, just keep plugging away and pay off your mortgage. Building wealth is a legacy, and that's what financial intelligence is all about. That program that I was telling you about, building wealth is a legacy you leave behind for your heirs, for the people that you create, your children, and nieces and nephews, and other people within your family unit. Because the more you talk about it, the wealthier you're going to be. And that's something that generationally we just don't do as a whole in America. Rich people do it, smarter, wealthier people do it, and now immigrants are doing it, but us Americans don't do it. I'm an immigrant, and we started talking about this when I became of age, but we didn't do it with our children, and I think that kind of hindered me. We have 40 million people in California right now. We don't have enough houses. We don't have enough living spaces for those 40 million people. We need to continue building. There's just no way that they're ever going to catch up. There's always going to be demand for the supply that we have. There's going to be some overpriced houses, and those are going to sit on the market for a long time, but that's on the seller, that's not on the market, okay? There's always going to be competition. Right now, we have very little competition. Right now is the time to buy a house if you're going to do it, even if the market crashes tomorrow. And I'll go back into that in a minute. There's less buyers. I've explained that. If you don't buy now and wait until the market shifts, you're going to have more competition. We just said that, right? When the market goes down, when the market goes up, right? There's more competition. There's more buyers. There's more investors, etc. Okay. All right, don't shop for a 30-year mortgage right now, right? I mean, if it's crazy high, go get a 5-year, 7-year, 3-year ARM. Those are interest-only adjustable rate mortgages. They're fixed for 30 years, 5 years, whatever, interest only, and then later on, once the market comes down or you see that 4.5% loan come in, then you can refinance. But again, I'm a little bit different. I'm a little more conventional. I do the 5.5% 30-year fixed, and I pay off my mortgage, right? But Vito, the market's so inexpensive or so expensive right now. The houses are more expensive, the rates are more expensive, and dollar for dollar, you're not making as much inflation-wise as your parents or your grandparents, right? In the 70s, it kind of started tearing off where now we're making dollar for dollar, and inflation has made your dollar worth less. Yet housing is more expensive. It's not going to stop. It's an excuse. It absolutely is an excuse. And it's the reason why people hesitate. But it's not an excuse to stop building your legacy right now. You should absolutely do that right now. Think about why you're doing that. It's not about short-term gains. It's about long-term legacy. And that's why people are buying. That's why I'm so busy. I'm showing houses tonight, showing houses tomorrow night. I'm getting people into houses because they're buying right now. This is November when the market's still relatively slow. Some kind of hints that we're talking about in financial intelligence is start a side hustle. You know, you can get the gurus or whatever, but you can always start an online business selling all sorts of stuff. You can get into affiliate marketing, you can do whatever, all sorts of different things. We talk about that. We talk about living underneath your means, right? Live for tomorrow, not for today. Don't go out and spend thousands of dollars to go see Taylor Swift or whatever it is you're into, right? My girls want to go see Taylor Swift. That's why that came up. Hire a home finance coach. Plan out your budget and work your budget. Live your budget. Live underneath your means. Save now, struggle now, and enjoy later. Because when you're older, you could be on a beach or you can be in a one-bedroom studio apartment, suffering. And it's totally up to you how you design your life. And don't forget, it's just going to get more and more expensive. It doesn't matter. If you're renting right now and you're spending $2,500 a month on rent, I'll guarantee you that in 5 to 10 years, you'll be paying $3,500. Yeah, you're going to be making a little bit more money, but everything is going to get more expensive. Cars are going to get more expensive. Food's going to get more expensive, everything. So when you buy a house, you get economically locked into your home. You get that one payment, and unless you're constantly refinancing, you know that payment's going to be consistent. You have taxes that are going to be consistent. Your insurance will go up a little bit, but that's just part of life, right? You get economically locked in. So one thing that when I bought my house in, I want to say 97, 98, the big aha moment was I bought it for $225,000, and I saw all the other houses around me going up to $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, and now I had all this equity, but my payment stayed down low. I think I was paying like $1,600 total for my loan and all, my mortgage and my taxes and all that, while everybody else is paying it and paying $2,500, $3,000. So you get economically locked into a home. And last but not least, the complaint that I'm not going to pay 7% on a mortgage. Well, I'm happy to rent out a property to you, my apartment to you, my house to you. That's why a landlord gets money. That's how a landlord builds legacy. And that's another thing that we teach you is how to become a landlord. And this, I'm going to leave this for tomorrow's live. We'll talk about this a little bit more. And that's it. All right, so that was 23 minutes worth of crap. I hope we can condense that into 10. Hope that makes sense. If you have questions, if you have arguments, if you think I'm full of crap, let me know down below. And please do subscribe. I'm Vito Scarnecchia with the Abitano Group, powered by Compass. We'll see you out there.